Hello, listeners, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Storyteller. So, I hope that all of you are doing great and all of you are eager to learn something new. That's why today I am here with our new story, Aladdin Part 7. We have already uploaded previous parts on our channel. So now let's start with our seventh part. But before moving towards our story, if you like my voice or like this story, so please do subscribe to our channel. So now let's move towards it. In the meantime, Aladdin's mother advanced to the foot of the throne and, having prostrated herself, said to the Sultan, "Sir, my son knows this present is much below the notice of Princess Budr al-Budur, but hopes nevertheless that your Majesty will accept of it and make it agreeable to the princess, and with the greater confidence, since he has endeavored to conform to the conditions you were pleased to impose." The Sultan, overpowered by the sight of much more than royal magnificence, replied without hesitation to the words of Aladdin's mother, "Go and tell your son that I wait with open arms to embarrass him, and the more haste he makes to come and receive the princess, my daughter, from my hands, the greater pleasure he will do me." As soon as Aladdin's mother had retired, the Sultan put an end to the audience. Rising from his throne, he ordered that the prince's attendants should come and carry the trays into their mistress' apartment. Whither he went himself to examine them with her at his leisure. The 80 slaves were conducted into the palace, and the Sultan, telling the princess of their magnificent apparel, ordered them to be brought before her apartment that she might see through the lattice he had not exaggerated in his account of them. In the meantime, Aladdin's mother reached home and showed in her ear and Constance the good news she brought to her son. "My son," said she, "you may rejoice. You are arrived at the height of your desires. The Sultan has declared that you shall marry the Princess Budr al-Budur. He waits for you with impatience." Aladdin, erupted with this news, made his mother very little reply, but retired to his chamber. There he rubbed his lamp, and the obedient genie appeared. "Genie," said Aladdin, "convey me at once to a bath, and supply me with the richest and most magnificent robe ever worn by a monarch." No sooner were the words out of his mouth than the genie rendered him, as well as himself, invisible and transported him into a hammam of the finest marble of all sorts of colors, where he was undressed without seeing by whom in a magnificent and spacious hall. He was then well rubbed and washed with various scented waters. After he had passed through several degrees of heat, he came out quite a different man from what he was before. His skin was clear as that of a child, his body lightsome and free. And when he returned into the hall, he found, instead of his own poor raiment, a robe the magnificence of which astonished him. The genie helped him to dress, and when he had done, transported him back to his own chamber, where he asked him if he had any other commands. Yes, answered Aladdin. Bring me a charger that surpasses in beauty and goodness the best in the Sultan's stables, with a saddle, bridle, and other comparisons to correspond with his value. Furnish also 20 slaves, as richly clothed as those who carried the present to the Sultan, to walk by my side and follow me, and 20 more to go before me in two ranks. Beside these, bring my mother 6 women slaves to attend her, as richly dressed, at least, as any of the Princess Budir al Budurs, each carrying a complete dress fit for any sultaness. I want also 10,000 of piece of gold in 10 purses. Go and make haste. As soon as Aladdin had given these orders, the jinn disappeared, but presently returned with the horse. The 40 slaves, 10 of whom carried each a purse containing 10,000 pieces of gold, and 6 women slaves, each carrying on her head a different dress for Aladdin's mother, wrapped up in a piece of silver tissue, and presented them all to Aladdin. He presented the 6 women slaves to his mother, telling her they were her slaves and that the dresses they had brought were for her use. Of the 10 purses, Aladdin took 4, which he gave to his mother, telling her those were to supply her with necessaries. The other 6 he left in the hands of the slave, who brought them with an order to throw them by handfuls among the people as they went to the Sultan's palace. The 6 slaves who carried the purse he ordered likewise to march before him, 3 on the right hand and 3 on the left. When Aladdin had thus prepared himself for his first interview with the Sultan, he dismissed the genie and immediately mounting his charger, began his march, and though he never was on horseback before, appeared with a grace the most experienced horseman might envy. The innumerable concourse of the people through whom he passed made the air echo with their acclamations, especially every time the 6 slaves who carried the purses threw handfuls of gold among the populace. On Aladdin's arrival at the palace, the Sultan was surprised to find him more richly and magnificently robed than he had ever been himself, and was impressed with his good looks and dignity of manner, which were so different from what he expected in the son of one so humble as Aladdin's mother. He embarrassed him with all the demonstrations of joy, and when he would have fallen at his feet, held him by the hand and made him sit near his throne. He shortly after led him amidst the sounds of trumpets, hautboys, and all kinds of music to a magnificent entertainment, at which the Sultan and Aladdin ate by themselves, the great lords of the court, according to their rank and dignity, sat at different tables. After the feast, the Sultan sent for the chief Qadi and commanded him to draw up a contract of marriage between the Princess Budr al-Budur and Aladdin. When the contract had been drawn, the Sultan asked Aladdin if he would stay in the palace and complete the ceremonies of the marriage that day. Sir, said Aladdin, though great is my impatience to enter on the honor granted me by your majesty, yet I beg you to permit me first to build a palace worthy to receive the princess your daughter. I pray you to grant me sufficient ground near your palace, and I will have it completed with the utmost expeditions. The Sultan granted Aladdin his request and again embarrassed him, after which he took his leave with as much politeness as if he had been bred up and had always lived at court. Aladdin returned home in the order he had come, amidst the acclamations of the people who wished him all happiness and prosperity. As soon as he dismounted, he retired to his own chamber, took the lamp, and summoned the genie as usual, who professed his allegiance. Genie, said Aladdin, build me a palace fit to receive the Princess Budr al-Budur. Let its materials be made of nothing less than porphyry, jasper, agate, lapis lazuli, and the finest marble. Let its wall be massive gold and silver bricks and laid alternately. Let each front contain 6 windows, and let the lattices of these except one, which must be left unfinished, be enriched with diamonds, rubies, and emeralds, so that they shall exceed everything of the kind ever seen in the world. Let there an inner and outer court in front of the palace, and a spacious garden, but above all things, provide a safe treasure house, and fill it with gold and silver. Let there be also kitchens and storehouses, stables full of the finest horses, with their equerries and grooms, and hunting equipage, officers, attendants, and slaves, both men and women, to form a retinue for the princess and myself. Go and execute my wishes. Because this story is too long, so rest of the part of this story we will cover in our next part. Till then, stay tuned with us. I hope that all of you like this story, so please do like, share, subscribe, and comment on our channel. Thanks for listening, and wait for the next part.